In this video, we're going to talk about what I think is one of the most underrated things and under talked about things, if you can say that, is feel. Very few times do I hear people talking about feel, and feel is essential to tennis. As much as you can watch videos about tennis, tennis is a sport where you're going to feel the ball on the strings, and you're trying to understand and learn how to feel the ball on the strings. So I want to talk about exactly what is feel and why is it important. Feel is just having the ball stay on the strings longer. What I mean by this is that when we make contact with a ball, you can make contact one of two ways. You can make a straight-on contact, which will cause the ball to hit the strings and then come off, meaning that you have no feel. The other way you can do it is brush the ball and have the ball stay on the strings longer. Now, one analogy I like to use about having feel, because feel is going to come from in your hands and holding the racket, is the difference of if you take your hand and you touch it on your face. You really don't get any feel for what your face feels like. You know, the thing I would do is take my hand and rub it across my face. I can tell the texture of my hand, my face. I can tell, you know, the texture of my skin by feeling the ball. This is the same concept we want to use when we're hitting the tennis ball. Whenever we're trying to strike the tennis ball, we don't want to have a flat-on hit. If we do, that means we're going to have less feel. The reason why feel is important is because feel adds to the amount of control you have. Just like the word feel, you're going to be able to feel the ball going where you want it to go because you have feel. If you don't have any feel, you're going to feel like you don't have time to really get the ball to go where you want. If you play tennis already, you've probably experienced this. When you hit the ball one way and it seems like the ball's already gone before you're even done with your swing, you hit the ball with maybe a little bit of spin or brush, and then the ball seems like it stays on the strings longer and you have more control. This is why feel is so important, and that's why I wanted to talk about it today. So, how do we get feel? I've talked about it, but I want to give you some tips on how to get feel. One way of getting feel, without getting too technical, is simply brushing the strings against the ball. So what do I mean by that when I'm talking about a stroke? What I mean by that is that making sure that when we swing, our swing path, how the racket moves through the ball, is going to start by making sure we're having the ball brush your racket. Okay? We always want to make sure that the strings are going to, or the ball is going to touch as much of the racket strings as possible. One thing I always tell myself to get this to happen is when I'm swinging, I almost try to imagine myself getting the edge or the top edge of my racket to hit the ball. What usually happens is that I miss the ball and I tend to brush the ball more, giving me more feel. Now, this is an essential thing to all of your strokes, including your serve, your forehand, your backhand, your volleys have feel, your slice, all your strokes have feel. You probably heard the TV announcer say, "Oh, that was a great drop shot," or "he had a lot of feel," or you'll hear him say, "he held the ball on the strings a little bit longer." They're referring to how much feel the player has. If you see players that are usually kind of craftier and that hit a lot of slice or different spins or different types of shots, they have more feel and they're able to do more stuff because of the feel. So make sure you're going out and you're working your feel. Again, all it means is trying to get the strings to brush as much as the ball as possible. And to do this, a great thing you can think about is getting the edge of the racket to come under the ball and trying to hit the ball. Hopefully you'll miss it and you're going to get some more feel. Go out and try that and tell me how it works. This is Kevin Garlington at forehanddomination.com.